You believe in UFOs? If you do, you'll already know it's World UFO Day. It is also 66 years since the date of the Roswell incident in the States, when an apparent UFO crashed in the desert in New Mexico. And now, every July the 2nd, UFO enthusiasts come together to look to the skies. But the question obviously is, what are the odds of there being life out there? Well, Sarah Spellman is the director of the Association for the Scientific Study of Anomalous Phenomena. She joins me from our newsroom in Birmingham. Sarah, I have to ask you first, what are anomalous phenomena?
Anomalous phenomena are strange things that happen in the world that don't have an apparent explanation. So it could include UFOs, people reporting seeing ghosts, anything often called paranormal of that nature.
And what kind of evidence are you looking at as you try to be impartial and assess this?
The first thing we try to do within our organization is rule out any mundane causes. So if there's any way to look at the evidence and say, if it were a UFO, well, was it a Chinese lantern? Was it an unusual plane? Something like that. So first we rule out anything normal. Then what we're really interested in is that sort of small subset of cases where there's no clear explanation. And so we just go as far as we can with those to try to analyze what's really going on.
And what are your personal feelings about the possibility of people having really spotted UFOs?
My own personal feelings are it's possible, but I'm not convinced yet that has happened. I mean, people have seen UFOs in the sense that they are unidentified. What they are is another question. So I am really interested in if we can someday come to some conclusion about what these things might be. But I'm a bit on the fence now, personally.
And as far as, surges in sightings go, do you think that's linked to what's happening in our culture, whether it's, might be political, like the space race, or might be something to do with the movies we're watching?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, if you look sort of culturally and historically, there have been sort of flaps or waves of sightings associated with certain cultural things. Obviously, the UFO boom started sort of around the time before the space race became a big thing in the 20th century. So whenever there's an increase in sightings, we do need to look at what's going on culturally, whether that could be driving people to misidentify things or see certain things or just make more reported sightings that they wouldn't have reported in past years. So it's definitely a question worth asking, yeah.
And just briefly, there may be, I suppose, many cases where it's actually military phenomenon that we're looking at.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it is, I think, well known by now that the military does have certain things they're doing, and they don't always tell the public immediately what those are. So once people start seeing them before those projects are made public, that could account for certain UFO sightings as well, certainly.
Sarah Spellman in our Birmingham newsroom. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you.
And now to something you might think is equally as bizarre as UFOs. Bram Escher wanted to know what it was like to be a pigeon. He has been posting videos, tweeting, existing online as a pigeon in New York City for 2 weeks. He tells us why.